Oh, there's one. Oh, that one was way up there, Al. Yeah, a little bit better one there. That's a better one. Spot lock on. That isn't a bad one. Oops, it's on spot lock. You know, when you're fishing weeds, one of the real keys is where the fish is positioned in the weeds. You know, throughout the summer months, these fish move up and down in the weeds based on a couple of different things. Number one is food. You know, the bluegills and the different forage that they feed on move up and down in the water column, as well as weather. So what's really important when you're making a lure selection is experimenting where the bait is moving. Sometimes if they're down deep in the weeds, you're gonna need penetrating baits. Other times when the fish are up high, baits swimming over the tops high in the weeds can be the baits of choice. But this is sort of early on, so we're just experimenting, trying to figure out where the fish are positioned now.
The other day I was out on a lake with my buddy like this, and my brother, man, did we pound a big fish. And they were all cranking. Yeah, you know, and if you went down deep with a jig and a shaky worm or a Texas rig critter in the deep weeds, you caught the small fish. All the big fish were high in the water column. Yeah, you know, and it changes so much. Here's the thing, in our lakes, the main forage in a lot of these weed lakes is bluegills and craws. Yeah, you know, bass love them. And the bluegills dictate pretty much everything. And what basically happens when the fish get negative and they're real tough to catch, those bluegills go down in the weeds, and the bass just, there's not much happening. Yeah, you know, they don't hunt for them. Everything is negative. The bluegills are buried down in the weeds, nothing's happened. And when the bluegills come up out of the weeds, get high above the weeds, or come out of the weeds and out on the edge, sometimes go down on the rock piles and you catch the big schools of big bass there. That's what's happening. It's all based on what those bluegills are doing in these lakes. You'll understand the bluegill spring, summer, fall, and you're gonna catch a lot of bass, a lot of them.
You can see what that is. This is actually a big school of bluegills that are holding out right beyond the edge of the weed line. And that's where those bass are collecting along in this particular spot. You know, there's not fish everywhere all along this deep weed line. The fish are concentrated in given spots, but a lot of times what you can do is move along relatively quickly, water bugging along the edge, and you'll see these schools of bluegills, and that's where the bass will be concentrated, you know, in the initial search process, because if you just started to get on the weed line and just start fishing, it could take you a year and a day to find them.
Bulldogging.
Ah, there you go. I got you.
Oh, not giant, not a giant.
No, okay.
I lost those other ones and
Okay.
Look at this, I'll show you something here. See these weeds hanging on here? See the weeds around here? I gotta show you something on this brat. This particular bait, you know, we fish a lot of weed lakes. And years ago, a bait that we used, a hard bait that we used, was a storm wigglewort. Many of you know what the wigglewort, big fat bait with a fat square lip, and you could fish it over those weeds really good. You could break it loose. It was a phenomenal bait. And then when they came out with, BX came out with this new bait, that this is the Brat 6. Look at that design on the front of that thing. Those weeds, there's no way those weeds get cut in there. You pull it, you break loose, the weeds just break off the bait so easy, so easy. It's a phenomenal weed bait for cranking over the top of this stuff. And this particular one on the lakes that we fish, the 6, it gets down about 5-ish, which is perfect for the top of these weeds, and it's got amazing hooks. But the design of the bait, and it's one tough sucker. How many times when you're fishing weeds, he's got another fish? Nope, he don't. You go like this to crack, you know, to knock the weeds off. You could do that all day with this one, and you ain't gonna break that lip off. This thing is a workhorse, man. An absolute workhorse. Phenomenal bait.
Oh, there's another one. Oh, there he is. Oh, he got off. You know, weed fishing is a real art. There's a lot of really distinct subtleties to understanding how the fish position in the weeds, the use of various lures for different type of weed fishing scenarios. You know, up in the North Country here, we're blessed with really just fabulous deep weed lakes, so we do a real lot of it, of all different type of fishing, weed fishing situation, from punching, cranking, rattling, you know, finesse fishing with like jig worm presentations, spinner baits, swim baits. I mean, we do it all over weeds. There you go, that's a good one. Come here, buddy. Ooh. Come on. Look at that guy. Huh. Nice. Come here, buddy. Oh. Come here. Well, he crunched it pretty good. Come here. Oh. Oh. Well, you can see the way he hit that bait. I mean, he engulfed it.
There you go.
Not being prepared with the pliers. There we go. A lot of times that crankbait is a really hot bait for weed fishing scenarios, no question about it, particularly in the fact that you can cover a tremendous amount of water is the real key with that.
This BX Brat is so cool. This whole BX series, you know, Balsa Extreme, it's got a hard coating on it, but this thing is this is a big bass bait, really a big bass bait. It is so buoyant when you're fishing over these weeds and touching the top of them, besides breaking free on a clear cast all the time. Let me show you. Yeah, you know, I can crank down fairly fast, so get down to 5 feet, 5 feet, and then I slow it. But if you pause it, or you know, you pull into something, you pause, it is so buoyant, it backs right out. You'd have to see it underwater and feel the bait. I mean, it really is an incredible bait. I've been fishing it quite a bit this season with amazing success. Amazing success. Highly impressed with the bait. But that buoyancy in any kind of bass fishing, you know, you're cranking down, then you stop, and that bait, when it bounces back, especially in warm weather, they like that. You know, they go, "Bloop."
Oh, there's one. Got him. That one came on the crankbait out. Oh. Nope. Yeah, there you go. Come on, buddy. Oh. Nice. We just crunched on square bill, sort of slow rolling it over the tops of the weeds. In this particular spot right here, actually the weeds come up within, it's a little bit tighter drop off, but then the weeds actually come up within like 4 or 5 feet of the surface. So I just picked up the square bill and made 2 casts and caught one. We'll see if we can get some more on this. Oop, there's one. Oh! There's a big one now. Wow, oh, I got a whopper on. There you go. Oh man, it's a better one there. Mr. Crankbait.
Nice
Ooh,
fish.
there you go.
Nice one.
Oh, look at that. Look at that beautiful fish. Look at that, boy. Come here, buddy, come here. You know, no question about it. When it comes to, there's a lot of different subtleties to being successful in weeds, and crankbaits are one of them. But I can guarantee you one thing, it's worth your effort to put some time in to learn the subtleties to be more successful on the water when you're talking about weed fishing for bass.
Another good one. They're not giants, but they're good ones.
There's a new one on our Brat. It's a beautiful lure, and I can guarantee you one thing, it really produces bass out of weed beds.